I didn't realize it was 5:59 yet. Okay. Now you're all set.
You ready?
It's still 5:59.
Okay, I just turned 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Like to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. First order of business is we need to elect a chairperson. Don't all speak at once.
Hammy.
Hammy, she's not on the committee. She's the alternate.
She is. I thought so. What about Matt?
Not here to defend herself.
No. All right, the people on the safety committee is Ben, Marty, and Heather. And Tammy's the alternate.
Make Heather the chair.
I'll do it, but you know, I mean, I'm still learning.
Good way to learn.
The only way to
Still
learn.
learning.
There's Tammy. Tammy heard
Yes,
you talking
only
about
way
it, so
to
she came to
learn.
defend herself.
Still learning.
I saw Marty wasn't on, so I thought I better jump on as
There's
alternate.
Tammy. Tammy heard
Yes,
you talking
only
about
way
it, so
to
she came to
learn.
defend herself.
I saw Marty wasn't on, so I thought I better jump on as
There's
alternate.
Tammy.
Oh, there's
Tammy
Marty.
heard you talking.
I nominate Heather.
I saw Marty wasn't on, so I thought I better jump on it.
There's Tammy.
Oh, there's
Tammy
Marty.
heard
Got the feedback.
Nominate Heather.
I saw Marty wasn't on, so I thought I better jump on it.
Tammy. Tammy heard
That's the problem I had at the last meeting.
I just heard that about 17 times that Tammy was on defending herself. You only got to defend yourself once, Tammy. I just heard that about 17 times that Tammy was on defending herself. You only got to defend yourself once, Tammy.
Thanks. I don't know what's going
I just
on.
heard that about 17 times that Tammy was on defending herself.
Marty, I'm going to mute you. I'm not sure if this is yours or somebody's got the feedback. Marty, I'm going to mute you. I'm not sure if this is yours or somebody's got the feedback. Marty, I'm going to mute you. I'm not sure if this is yours or somebody's got the feedback. Okay, somebody say something.
I'm afraid.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay. How's that?
Okay, I think we're fixed.
All right.
Okay, back to elect a chairperson.
Heather.
Heather, do you accept?
Sure.
You're here to defend yourself.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still learning, but you know, I'll give it a shot.
That's fine.
Ah.
Any issues, will be more than happy to help you through.
Marty, if you need to talk, just press the space bar on your keyboard while you're talking, and that'll unmute you temporarily. Otherwise, we won't be able to hear you. Uh-oh.
And Chief,
Okay.
don't forget to vote. The
All
chair.
right. Heather's accepted. All in favor? Or do I need to go one by one?
No, you're fine.
Aye.
All in favor? Did I hear Marty chime in there?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're good. Thank you, Heather.
Mhm.
Next item, accept the minutes from the March 3rd meeting. You should have your packet. So I need a motion to approve those minutes in a second, please.
So moved.
A second.
All right, you should have the appropriation status, the vendors and the SRO report, everything's on file. Any questions, concerns? If not, we'll keep moving. Okay, Michelle, anything from citizens?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Under old business, we discussed Harner Plumbing was in the process of installing the touch-free fixtures. That's complete now. We were awarded one MDP on the OCJS grant. We should be receiving that money within probably 2 to 3 weeks. Patrolman Dunn's got that paperwork finalized. We got the signatures.
What does the MTD stand for?
The mobile data terminal, that's our computers in the car.
Okay,
The speed limit on High Street, we discussed. Again, the concerned people were told that that's a county road. We don't control that speed limit. Nothing else. Anybody else, anything under comments or old business?
no,
Okay, moving on to new business. You should have a copy of the distracted driving ordinance,
yep.
331.45.
I read
And
it.
I'll ask Michelle's guidance a little bit. I believe what we want to do is we want to look at D4 on the top where it says a person reading, selecting, or entering a name or telephone number in a mobile communications device for the purpose of making or receiving a phone call. So when we look at distracted driving, it's basically taking our eyes off of the road and paying attention to our mobile device. Whether you're reading a text, entering a text, replying to a text, or you're entering a phone number, it's the same principle. You're still taking your eyes off of the road and you're manipulating the keyboard of the phone. So what we would like to do is omit that, because right now it's divisions A or B of this section does not apply to any of the following. So it doesn't apply to a person reading, selecting, or entering a name or telephone number in a mobile communications device for the purpose of making or receiving a telephone call. We want to take that out so that basically you cannot be on your phone. You cannot have your phone in your hands while driving through the village. There's enough hands-free devices available that I feel, and I'll present it to you to, if we move forward to take it to council, that basically we're not asking for much during that 1.1 mile, that when you're in the village, stay off your phone.
Yeah,
That
I think
doesn't-
I support that.
That
Michelle,
doesn't apply to.
did I do
that
okay with that?
Yes, that's.
Did I
I
miss
want
anything
to
else out of that?
I want to ask a question.
Okay,
That doesn't apply to Bluetooth, does it? When you're just talking to the truck or the car?
Right, no.
no, because you're
Okay,
not using your
okay,
hands.
I'm fine with that, because
Right.
I got Bluetooth on my truck.
And most newer vehicles do. Once you link your phone in through there, it's all voice command. You can,
Right.
if it's, whether it's
And
Apple
that-
CarPlay,
And I'll tell you something, that's not easy to link your phone in there.
yeah, or you just, hey Siri, and it does it for you, and you don't have to take one of your hands and manipulate the keyboard of the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Michelle, any other thing? Everything else looked okay? in
Yeah,
that one?
yes, I think that's the only problematic subsection there. So if you want to vote to recommend to council that subsection D4 of the distracted driving section be repealed and renumbered number 5 to number 4, because now it'll just be sitting out there, then send that to council and I'll do legislation and council will have it.
Okay, I'm asking for a motion and a second to do just that. We're going to take number 4 completely out. Then number 5, which now says a person using mobile communications device in conjunction with a voice operated or hands-free device feature or function of the vehicle would then become number 4.
I'll make the motion.
Heather, make a motion, second. I'm sorry, did I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And Michelle will get that paperwork ready for council. Next item under new business, traffic enforcement concerns. We had received an email about whether the village was labeled a speed trap and how we're enforcing the speed limits on, and it's mainly Main Street seems to be the road that's always referred to, and where we pull people over at. And unfortunately, it's so tight and narrow and congested in downtown. A lot of times if we get somebody coming into the village, sometimes by the time we get up to them and we get the lights on, they are somewhere in the middle of downtown. And depending on the speed, we're better off to get them pulled off to the side of the road than not pull them over and follow them at a high rate of speed through town until we can get them pulled over, say at the mini mart or up towards UH or somewhere if they're going northbound. So there's no nice way to enforce traffic in downtown. But at the same time, we're labeled a speed trap, but yet we're only about 20%, 18% as far as citations versus warnings. So out of 2020, we did little over 620 some traffic stops, and we only wrote a little over 125, 30 tickets. So it's right around 18, 20% is the ratio of tickets versus warnings. So we are definitely giving a lot more warnings than we are citations. But yet at the same time, if we don't want to slack off of traffic enforcement because we're doing that for the businesses downtown who've come and asked us, hey, watch in downtown. You'll be seeing a new face in dispatch. And we have one auxiliary officer that has completed their training program with us. So I would like to get a motion and a second to move John Fudella from auxiliary to part-time status.
So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The other thing under personnel, I think longevity of the department and for the better of the village, probably going to look at the process to start adding another full-time officer. Right now, currently, I am the only full-time officer in the SRO. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of people. It's not like it was a decade ago where people are beating down the doors to come be a police officer. So I think rather than be a stopping grounds or a training grounds for all the younger people that come in, we hire them, they get trained, they get some experience, and then they move on to somewhere else. And basically it's because of money and benefit. That's a fact. So I think we need to look at starting the process of adding one full-time officer. We had actually looked at this a couple of years ago, back when we made the SRO. There was I went back and looked at the minutes. We'd actually talked about that back then, making the SRO full-time, along with adding another full-time on top of that. And then COVID hit, so everything kind of, we held off on everything. Now that we're coming out of COVID and for the stability, I think we need to start looking at doing that. So I'm going to start looking into that process. So when that happens, depending on how the process go, I may be asking for some volunteers to sit in on maybe some interviews with potential candidates to see who would be a good fit for our village. So I'm going to do what I normally do for anything, any kind of promotion. I would offer from within the department first. And if we don't think that there's a viable candidate from within the department, then we would look outside the department. So, but that's the only thing I have at this point under personnel. And finally, under new business, we're working on another OCJS grant for another MDT. So we like free stuff. So what's going to happen is the little over $3,000 that we'll be getting in a couple weeks from the last OCJS grant for the MDT, I would like to turn around, and I'll need a motion because it's going to be a little over $3,000. I'd like a motion and a second that we go ahead, and if we need to front the money before this money comes in, we go ahead and order another MDT on this coming OCJS grant, make the purchase, and then we would get reimbursed for that. And I believe this one's 100% reimbursable grant as well.
Is it?
So if I can get a motion and a second for that.
Has the grant already been applied for?
He's in the process of it now, but he told me to go ahead and start the process at Safety and Council. And I think it's opening up or it's getting ready to open up.
It's reimbursable.
Yes. And then I think this one's 100%.
I've got no problem if it's reimbursable.
So move.
Second,
So that was that Marty that made the motion?
that was
Yes.
Marty.
And a second by
Ben,
all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving down, items recommended to council, we'll take the OCJS grant and the distracted driving modification for that ordinance. Those are the two things I have, and to move the auxiliary officer over to part-time. So we'll have three things that I'll be bringing up at council. I have nothing to go to finance, nothing for parks, nothing for service. We're not tabling anything, and we do not need an executive session. Our next meeting would be scheduled for Wednesday, May 5th, 2021 at 6 p.m. And depending on how things go between now and then, we may have one in May. The main goal tonight was I needed to get some stuff voted on to get things rolling, and to get a chairperson for some other purposes in case we needed it. So if nobody has anything else, May 5th will be our next meeting. If I can get a motion to adjourn in a second.
So
I
moved.
have a question.
Ben and Marty.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Marty.
I saw Jennifer walking into the village. Any comment?
She's following within her restrictions.
Okay,
She's been in contact with me about a couple things, and I've been replying back, and so far I've had no issues.
good. Thank you.
Okay, if nobody has anything, then we will adjourn at 6:19.
You guys have a good evening and be safe.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
you
you.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, take care.
Hey, Chief, before you go,
Michelle, did we end?
No, I'm just gonna leave it running because planning starts. Do you need to talk to me privately?
No, I didn't. Tammy, I just, we're still live.
right, I just want to know, did you want me to bring up at finance, the full-time officer, kind of start talking about that?
Yeah, we can. And I can
Okay,
come into finance. I can come into finance if you want when that's scheduled and talk numbers.
Okay, I just thought if we start talking about it now, it's not a shock later,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, I went back and looked under the minutes back when we started all this. And I looked through I want to say it was October of 19, September of 19, and actually went all the way back to April of 19. We brought something up. But yeah, it was brought up back then. We were going to start the ball rolling, and then COVID happened. And then we're just like, we don't know what's going to happen. We just put everything on hold because with them cutting the school out, that then put Eric out of the schools and on the road. So rather than take the full burden cost of 2 full-time officers right off the bat, then we said to hold off. But once now that school's back in and he's back in, we get reimbursed for a good portion of that.
But since we're talking about budget things, going over the budget, and I know we just got your numbers a couple weeks ago. So I just thought maybe we should talk about that too.
Mhm.
Look at that.
Yeah, if Michelle just include me on the invite for finance, and I'll hop on that meeting.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
do that.
Hi, Mr.
Hello,
Weaver.
everyone.
Hello.
They're making some progress down your way.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, I drove down through there this morning and got a lot of stuff tore up down there. A lot of pipe has been put in down there, so
Yes, they do.
it's getting there.
Hi, Todd.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Mayor, do you need me for anything on this one?
No,
Okay.
Yeah,
If
we
nobody
still have
has
10
anything
minutes.
else, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out.
okay.
you,
Have a
Joe.
good evening.
All right, take care.
How you doing, Tammy?
It's rough. Funeral's tomorrow. Just you know, it's a weird feeling. So
Well, I've said my prayers for you this week and for your mother, so.
thank you. Thank you. You know, my mom's good. You know,
Yes, she's in a better place now.
she is. Yes, she is. So my mom's good. It's just all this little thing picking up all the other pieces right now. So thank you so much.
I don't know where our chair is at. He's probably upstairs still trying to log in.
I was gonna say, you're in the same house, aren't you?
He's upstairs, I'm out on the deck. In fact, I'm gonna have to close the door so he doesn't tell me he can hear me talking.
So Linda, I have to ask before the meeting gets going,
Uh-huh.
what happened to the flags on Franklin Street? At Teeters, they're gone.
I'm gonna assume that maybe they got tired of the neighbors complaining. We could not tell them
Oh,
to
I know.
remove them.
No, I know. They were just gone last weekend or
Huh.
this
I have
past-
not heard.
yeah, I was shocked. All three of them were
Well,
gone.
maybe someone went to the door and nicely asked, and I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, I got a call for that in the fall, and I said, "There's nothing we can do. It's freedom of speech." You know, you.
Oh, it's been,
Right.
yeah, I mean, we've been getting complaints, every month?
Hmm.
But yeah, just all of a sudden there's no more. So I don't know.
Isn't the house across the street for sale now too?
I think it's sold. The one on the caddy corner, yeah, it's sold.
Okay.
I
Oh,
think
the
there's
old
another
yellow
one.
one?
No, the Goulas sold. The house next to the Goulas is on for
Oh,
sale
the house
now.
next to, yeah, that one is for sale. Yes, it is. Yep.
So maybe they were friends and
That could be. Yeah, that could be.
whatever. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it too, right? Doesn't matter how we got there, we got there.
Exactly.
Hi, Jen.
Did anybody hear from Wes today?
No. I just saw his email response to you from last week or the week
A
before
week
last.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, that said he might not be able to rearrange his schedule. So, yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know where Mary Ann's at either. Oh, she's got
That's why I
time.
thought I better make sure I was here tonight. So in case Wes wasn't.
There's Mary Ann.
Oh, okay.
Hi, everyone. This is Gene.
Hi, Jean.
Hey,
Hi,
Gene.
Jean.
Sorry I'm calling in today. I'm out in Youngstown.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry about your luck.
What? Well, if are you at a hockey game?
No.
No, I'm doing a design out in Youngstown, downtown. It's a public library. So I need to go out there today to look at the construction. So I just got done. I was about to leave. So I'm like, oh, I better call in. I'm not driving.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I did it with the phone instead of my computer.
It comes up as administrator's iPhone as your label.
That's because it's the administrator's iPhone.
That's perfect.
Amazing. Scott, real quick,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
be real, I finally spoke to Rootstown Township
Oh, yes.
and, it's not quite the way that it was explained to us by, Ohio Edison.
Okay.
But he told me somebody to call and I called them and, it's to use the AT&T poles. So we have all the poles marked. I just have to, or the numbers written down. I just have to enlist someone to go and mark them so I can know how many poles are AT&T, so we know how many hanging baskets and flags can be put up.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
Good.
I was trying to talk to my sweetie into doing it when he takes a walk in the morning, but he hasn't given me a response yet. But
Who would that be?
But I figured maybe I'll give Harry Booker a call since he's the one who started all this.
He may be listening right now.
I know, that's why I said it.
Well, I just don't understand this. I don't understand why they won't budge on this, you know? They're going to make this very, very difficult.
Well,
and it's a shame.
According to the AT&T people, all the poles on the east side of the street should be AT&T poles. There may be a few on the west side. So we'll see how, we might have to scale back on the flags, but at least we'll have flags and some hanging baskets.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, the village would look barren without the baskets and the flags. I mean,
Yes.
both.
Well, I think it definitely needs to be put out there that they won't allow, that that's an issue with Ohio Edison. Court of public opinion is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Not to Ohio Edison.
Well, it's going to be once they get caught up with the Auroras and Streetsboroughs and, I mean.
As it rolls across, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like we're the sacrificial lamb right now. Well, Rootstown.
In Rootstown.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, it's 6:30 and I think I see everybody here.
Oh, hey, Wes.
Hi, Wes.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Mayor.
So let's go ahead and start this meeting, call her to order. Everybody should have had a copy of the minutes from last meeting. Are there any corrections or additions?
I do not believe.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have, I guess, Dan. We're going to catch you here in a little bit. You're actually on the agenda. So any citizens would like to talk to us right now?
We have Todd Peets from Regional Planning and Lisa Reeves from Regional Planning to answer our questions on the target of opportunity funding, along with Dan.
Okay, let me make a note of that.
Mary Ann, did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't really hear.
Here, I'm gonna turn mine up.
Okay. Everybody ready to fire here?
Okay, I can hear him.
That's because I talk loud.
And they can hear you. Okay.
Okay, zoning inspector's report turned in on file. Anything else you want to add as a zoning inspector, whoever it is this month?
Mary Ann now.
No, nothing I want to add at this moment.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and jump right into the target opportunity funding, that probably should say.
Yes.
For the east side of Main Street through the CDBG. Who would like to go first? Go ahead, Dan.
You're smiling,
You
Dan.
want to jump on this?
Well, right now, I think this meeting, the reason Todd and Lisa are involved in this is for the village, for me working with the village, we need to know exactly what next steps we need to take, what do we need to promote, to submit to the Development Corporation for taking next step on this grant application, the grant application itself.
Todd, that sounds like your cue.
Okay, so basically, we can submit the application on behalf of Mr. Tillett and also the village of Mantua. And so, but we need something from the village saying they support this, so we can take it to the commissioners so they can forward it. And I think the village wants some sort of assurance that the match funds, which is 50-50, is coming from Dan Tillett and not from the village itself. And that's all you really need to do. And then we run it through the commissioners and we take it to the state. I've got Lisa on the phone too, in case we have other questions.
Okay, Todd, I have a question. Is this project actually going to be able to meet the requirements of this grant? Because as I'm reading it, it says only a single building project. And it says buildings must be on the National Register of Historic Places. And this encompasses more than one building, right, Dan?
That's correct.
And to my knowledge, none of those buildings are on the historic register. And if somebody can, wants to correct me on that one, please do.
Lisa, Lisa, could you hear what he said?
Yes, I did. He's asking whether or not it's got to be on the National Register of Historic Places.
That and whether it can be more than one building.
Yes, it can be more than one building.
What about the National Register question?
I don't believe it has to be on the National Register, because I know I sent this to the state and asked them if it would be eligible for the program, and he said it would be.
Okay.
Lisa, is it because it's in the historic district? Is that how we get away with that?
Yes, I do believe so.
But is it in a historic district? We don't have a historic district.
That's never been formalized. Nobody's come on board after we got this commission to make that all happen.
Michelle, do we have a historic district?
I'm not aware that we have a designated historic district in any official sense.
Nobody's told me about a historic district. There was information from, I do not remember who named the woman from the engineering firm, TTS. She indicated that there were other categories that this would fit under to meet the requirements or to meet the requirements for the grant. It was not a historic district. It was more like an area that is deemed to be run down, blighted, or something like that. So it may be something that the village has to declare as an area that needs to be refurbished, brought up to date. Does that sound like it's in the realm there, Lisa?
I know that we have done a low to moderate income survey in the village. It should still be in place. Also, Lisa, we could probably get away with that.
The requirements for the grant is all you have to do is you have to declare it as slum and blight. That is the only basis we can use in order to make it eligible for the grant. And the eligible activities include public facility improvements such as constructing, reconstructing, and or rehabilitating infrastructure in targeted residential areas of distress.
Yeah, and I think this, I mean, they may not be in a historic district, but does the Ohio Preservation Office have them listed as historic structures? I mean, they gotta be historic structures.
Right.
If they're listed on the national register, I mean, it would be considered a historical building.
Right, but we're not, they don't even have, if they don't have to be on the national register, they still could be listed in the Ohio, without being in a district even, they could still be listed as a historic structure in the Ohio Historic Master, or the Ohio Historic Preservation Office, by the Ohio Preservation Office.
Todd, for my information, is that like going around town, we see a home that has a Century Home plaque on it? Is that the type of thing?
Well, you know, we're sort of, yeah, there's certain criteria you have to be on that. It's not like, you know, I make the decision or you make the decision. Somebody submits it to the OHP, Ohio Preservation Office, OHPO or whatever.
So,
And they SHPO, they make the determination, right? And so we're working with Mantua Town. I've talked with the mayor a little bit about this. We're working with Mantua Township on and also with the village. We'd like to do the village and list all the historic structures in the village. And I can't verify how many they have in the village, but I know that, for example, they have at least 31 historic structures in Mantua Township. And I would assume those buildings would meet the same criteria as those others. Somebody just has to submit them and be put on the master site file. It's not me making that decision. It's somebody submitting it to them, and then they say, yes, it meets their criteria, and they place it on there.
Well, Todd, let me ask this. We do have a landmark commission in the
Okay.
village, and people can register their homes or their properties. Excuse me, their properties, not necessarily homes. And that's through the state also from I'm sorry, I can't think of the guy's name that I talked to in Columbus. But we have not had one property in the village of Mantua ever sign up for it since 2013 when we put this landmark commission in place.
Yeah, and I think like even the landmark commission, unless they send this information to the state, they're not going to be registered on the state's site. I mean, they might be registered locally with you guys or with the landmark commission, but they have to go to the state.
Right, because we've tried to get Jody Fiala tried to get the market registered, and she wasn't eligible because she had no paperwork showing what it looked like when it was originally built, and it's been changed so much. So even though we know that it was built a long time ago, they would not approve that. That's the only one who has tried to register their property. When we first put the landmark commission in place, we had, I think, Scott and Wes, what was it? There were like 13
There was quite a
property
few.
owners that said, you put this in place and we're going to sign on the dotted line and register our properties, but none of them ever did.
No, no one ever did. Nope.
I'm going to jump in here. I was just looking through the National Register of Historic Places database, and I found something that I'd never seen before down on a couple of different blocks, including the East Prospect Street and the Main Street block we're talking about. And I'm trying to get it into a condition that I can share my screen without crashing my computer.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit more, but I could probably share this in a second.
Okay, council members, refresh my memory. Has this project ever, or Dan even, has this ever been presented to council?
It has been discussed at council. The picture that everybody was, that was included in the, your packet, that council has been shown the drawing, knowing that this would come, be coming up at some point. Dan has submitted cost estimates. He had broken it down into 2 separate projects, doing one and then the other. When Lisa and I had talked, unless things had changed, Lisa felt that it would be eligible to submit for the whole thing at once. But the things that we needed from the property owners was letters from them committing to this project and financially having the match. And Dan says that he does have those letters now.
But yes, I do have the signed forms that Lisa provided me, which will be the forms that will be needed for that grant. So I've got those signed by the property owners of record of the buildings. The matching funds, Todd, you said the matching funds, it'll be a 50-50 split. Is that correct?
I believe so, yeah. It's a 50-50. I just confirmed that with Lisa. It's 50-50 split, isn't it, Lisa?
It does not give a percentage. It just says that they have to commit to the project, the owners of the property. It doesn't give a percentage. The only thing I can say is I can double check with the state, but whether or not there's actually a percentage, but I can say that the more that is contributed by the owners, the more points you'll get for that.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have commitments for a substantial amount of money, but it's not 50%.
Right. I Googled that. I Googled targets of opportunities, and it was a 2018 was the closest one I got. And that was said it was a 50-50 split, but
oh, really?
that could have changed.
Yeah, they do have the 2021 what do you call it? Consolidated plan out. It's in draft format. It does not talk about, the only thing it mentions is that there just needs to be a firm commitment
By the owners.
Detailed scope of work for the project.
Okay. But all I know is this is how I look at it, Dan, and not to speak for you, but all I know is I'm thinking that whatever the match is, they want you and your contributors to be the ones paying it, not the village. I think that's what the village is looking for, I'm assuming.
Right. And we have
absolutely.
letters for the application. So whoever and has agreed to in writing is who will be the state looking at as far as commitments go. The village will not have to pay for anything. The only thing that the village would have to do is declare the building a slum and blight in order to use that as an objective for the grant. And it does not, in anything I've read, say that it has to be in a historical district or on the National Register.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you guys all hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just want to make, because she's calling me through the phone because she's having problems with her computer at home to call in with. So that's why we're kind of convoluted, and I apologize.
Okay. Okay, Dan, I was just doing some math off the original numbers you threw at us. So even at a 50-50, that would be a contribution of 177,528. We're going to be able to come up with that kind of money?
Well, I mean, I've never tried. So I can tell you right now that we're less than 100 on the commitments that I've got so far. But I've not hit either of the other property owners, and I haven't gone to, our group yet because everything's been high in the sky, COVID, delay. So now with what we've got here, I can start getting serious about the thing, but I don't see 50% of this project being raised locally. I know the village has no money, and right now I'd say 100, 120 would be what I would look for as something reasonable to get from business owners, from interested parties, that type of thing.
Would it be better to split it out like you originally had thought and do two different projects there? I don't have that in front of me. I can go in the house and get it. John, do you have a copy of the cost estimates there in front of you?
Phase one estimate was 180,000 and some change. Phase two was 175,000 and some change. Phase one, I think, Dan, was like doing the sidewalks, the railing, right?
Yes. Slightly affected by
Sorry.
the work we already have done, but for the market. But yeah, we do also have parking behind that I'd like to address as well. My understanding is we're better off going for all of the grants because sometimes there's money falls out of the tree later on in grant procedures. And if we have grants ready, shovel ready, it's very likely, we'd be in consideration for more funds that happen to open up later on. Is that correct, Todd?
It's always good to keep your option open. I still wait for that money to fall out of the tree, but it does happen. And so I shouldn't say it does happen, but those kind of things happen where money becomes available. So yeah, I definitely say keep your options open, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know with the Mantua Center, when we were working with that some funds that weren't used by another entity that had been granted some funding, that funding, since the other entity never used it, it became available.
Yeah, there was some money from the capital budget for that's Mantua school project, and so they got like another $150,000 came in from capital budget monies.
Right. Do you have any recommendation?
You can ask for up to $250,000 for grant funds, less 25,000 is the max we could get for administration.
So you're saying they can ask for up to 225,000?
That's correct.
But they would have to match everything beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 350 and 225. That would mean you'd have to come up with a 1 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I am. Yeah. Okay. It's always good to have a target.
hopefully something falls out of a tree too.
Well, sometimes it seems like it doesn't, Todd.
Well, anyway. So,
No?
but you need them you need the village council to basically declare slum and blight so you can move forward. Basically.
Yeah. To do what with the budget?
To move forward, the council needs the village council would need to declare those buildings slum and blight so you can move forward with the grant to meet the national objective of the grant.
Okay.
I think that's the ask, and I think they probably want some assurance that they're not going to pay any of the match, which Lisa says it really is not supposed to come from them. It's supposed to come from the owner.
Right.
Is there a criteria to declare those buildings slum and blight?
I can provide a sample resolution that you can use. I don't know if there's necessarily a criteria.
Yeah, slum and blight sometimes is the eye of the beholder,
Right.
Get pretty subjective then. Okay.
We have used slum and blight on other projects through the county, through CDBG.
Right.
That's how we got Orchard Street done.
Yeah.
Originally. So,
Yep.
Dan, I wanted to step back because I wasn't sure if I heard you right. You said you also wanted to be looking for funding to do the parking lot behind the building?
Well, yes. Yeah, I would like to look at that. I've looked at a small workup that Ted Manfres had done down in
Yes,
Louisiana.
we have that. We've all seen it. And I'll tell you, it's the same thing that I told the property owners at that time. When they approached us, trying to think, it's been 6 or 7 years ago, I think it was.
Close to 8, I bet.
Right. The village cannot apply for any funding for that parking lot because it's private property.
Okay, but that would not.
Even if, and the other thing that was not appealing to the village was, even if you were to give, the village were to ask for easements, and that's what the property owners at the time said that they wanted to do, that was never produced by them. And then they wanted to turn over the ownership and responsibility of the maintenance to the village, because it would create, I think, 50 to 75 parking spots back there. It would be a 2-tier level. I have the drawings from Mr. Manfred from when it was turned in.
Right.
Again, when
First
we,
Street was made parallel parking, or First Street was made diagonal parking? Is that the drawings?
Yeah, everything would
Yes.
be one way as First Street is right now. And the parking would be diagonal one way. But if you walk around or you walk down Prospect, you can see, if you want to say blight in downtown Mantua, that is the epitome and the definition of blight. It is ugly. It's terrible. Those cars are parked like jack straws somebody dropped on the floor. The number one thing that Mantua downtown as it grows is going to need is the parking. And this is a absolutely wonderful use of the area behind there. If the village can't do anything about it, I mean, that's why I'm looking at adding it into this. Maybe we can get it in on this grant. Todd, do you see any major red flags up if it's included with these other submittals?
I missed that last part. I apologize. I was just reading.
Okay.
I was reading Michelle's email that she just sent to me.
Okay.
And Michelle, so Michelle, before you answer that question, then this thing you just sent me says it is a commercial district in the National Register. Is that how you infer that?
Yeah, that came right from the National Register of Historic Places, and the block that we're talking about, I guess it's 3 buildings. It's East Prospect Street, it's the train station, and then it's the Main Street buildings. They're down towards the very end where they're listed in the photograph at the time. So I don't know if that bolsters the application in any way to have it on there, but I figured you guys would know what to do with it.
Probably would. I think it's interesting that it's on there though, and we all weren't sure.
I had an idea that the East Prospect buildings were part of a little block, but I'd never seen this document with Main Street buildings on it.
right, and we've looked before, and all of a sudden it pops up.
Yep, it was weird.
Maybe somebody inquired, and
they've been digitizing their database for the past number of years, so it could be that the whole document finally made it up there.
Mayor, so the idea that, at least that I'm carrying in my mind right now, is that we would put all this together in one grant application with phases of, Todd and Lisa thought that was most appropriate to have phases in it, but
I don't think that the village would be adverse to it. We thought the parking idea was good. We asked for information from the property owners. We told them exactly what we needed. We needed letters from them that they would be willing to give us easements for the property to apply for the funding. And then that we never got that. So there was no point in going any further and getting into a, excuse my language, a pissing match of who would maintain it, because it was a moot point if we didn't have the easement.
yeah, I think there's a different tone, maybe outlook of those owners there now.
Yeah, I think
so
we
I
had.
would be more positive about it.
I think we had an issue with overhead utilities back there too, Linda. There was going to have to be a lot of utilities moved. There was, and the biggest question was the maintenance, the snow plowing, the garbage removal.
Right. And
I mean,
plus
that was all going to fall on us. That was all going to fall on the village. So.
Oh, okay.
Plus they didn't have any of the water or sewer lines, whatever may be in the back there, in their drawings.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of an idea, Dan, but it was never really finished. You know what I mean? They brought it up, but we never really dug into
Didn't pursue it because we were waiting for certain, you can only goes step by step, and the first step we would have needed was easements
Mhm.
for that property, and we've never gotten them, so.
Right, right.
Right.
And at
Well-
that time, it was 4 properties, not 3.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So, okay, you know, I've seen nothing but, you know, people looking for those kind of changes, you know, I mean, since we've been working with the village, you know, any interactions I've had with you guys has been positive towards the development of downtown, the businesses that we encounter, the new businesses. I mean, there seems to be some momentum there. And as I walk down Prospect, as I said earlier, the beauty of the buildings and the new businesses on the one side of the street is countered by a black hole of that parking lot. And really, it would accomplish 2 things by getting that taken care of. One is parking is needed for the businesses downtown. It used to be you could park on Main Street, do U-turns anytime you wanted, park anywhere you wanted, and that's no longer the case. And for when we have these events like Art on the Hill, and there's going to be a rib cook-off the chamber is doing, and the ribbon cutting the chamber's looking at. Those things on those days, it's going to be hard to find parking. So you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by getting that taken care of. The details on the maintenance, I don't see those as stopping this. There was a time that a 50-cent charge from the village would send guys into catatonic states, but I don't think that the cost of maintenance is a showstopper. The benefit to the businesses is well worth whatever it costs to maintain.
Well, council was on board with the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
We've just been waiting for the businesses to come back with what we requested of them.
Okay. Well, I guess the question for Todd and Lisa is, if I'm adding parking, packaging, parking grant, you know, packaging parking improvements into this grant, is that a showstopper? Is that a red flag? Is that a
allowable expense? That's probably the bigger question, is a parking lot allowable expense? And I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I typically, you know, at least, I mean, typically we allow parking as part of the projects, but as part of the slum and blight improvement. And maybe it is. I think it might, you know, we did something in Garrettsville that included parking that was part of the slum and blight problem. And you know, when the building burns, you know, the buildings burned down in Garrettsville, we did do some parking improvements there. Is that incorrect? At least, is that incorrect? That parking would not be included?
Right, we could not include the parking lot areas. It can only be for things that are considered to be against village code, or building code, or it can be, we can do it for facade improvements, or.
Would it be against village code though if they didn't have enough parking spaces?
Well,
and this would just be providing the parking spaces the village code would request or require them.
well, I can throw it at the state and see what they tell me, see if I can include it.
Yeah, I would think that the village would want parking spaces for any commercial or residential units.
Yeah, Lisa, if you could check on that, that'd be wonderful. If it's not doable as part of the grant, I need to know, because I am going to go after it in different directions if necessary. So,
Dan, I don't remember ever having a cost estimate on that, because we didn't get that far into it.
no, you know what? I've got to go down to Ted's and get the scale drawing. I've had a little Xerox copy that's 8x10. I need to get that, because I need to go back and I need to do some staking, laying it out. Teresa, the owner of the middle part of that building block, would like to see it marked out so she can, you know, so she can sign on. She wants to know what's happening, because she's one of the major owners of that land behind there. You know, Hummel and Benner own the section. Our building really doesn't have much in the way of land back there. But Teresa's does, and it owns most of that. That goes with the Village Tavern. So, but Lisa, if you could find that out, that would be helpful, and I would know where to go from there.
Yes, I will look into it and I'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So where do we go from here?
As I understand it, Todd, the village needs to make needs basically to have a written proposal or council vote on, this area is blighted because of the different conditions. Is
Right.
that correct?
Yeah, so I think what I'm hearing is that they whatever information they still need from you, I think they need. And then the other part of it is we can provide them a resolution, a sample resolution that we've used before for someone bite, and then they can, use that or modify it as necessary. And they would need to would basically say that area is slum and blight, and then we can move forward after that. I mean, then we can start the process to take it onto the state.
So Todd, if I'm understanding you right, you just need legislation from the village to declare that area slum and blight in order for Dan and his people to apply for this grant.
Correct.
The village would not be signing for the grant or anything.
The county would have to, for the most part, or the engineer or architect on the project, depending on the information that may be needed for the application itself.
Yeah. So all you're doing is you're confirming that or declaring that this building is slum and blight on the community, and thus that triggers the ability for this to be an allowable grant request. Right. And then, like Lisa said, it does go through the commissioners only because it has to process through some place. So it wouldn't process through the village; it would process through the county commissioners, and then that's how we get involved, because county commissioners have us run those grants for them, and so that's how it works.
So if I'm thinking this, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I thought the village had to be involved some way, that the grant would be to the village, but that's not correct. That's through the county then?
It would be through but the county's not going to do anything if the village isn't supportive of it, number one. And then number two is the village does have a responsibility, because it needs that declaration of a slum and blight or resolution of a slum and blight for that building, and that opens it up to be an allowable grant request. Right, it has to have that designation, or else it's just not allowable. So that's why we need the village to confirm that for us, or pass that resolution saying that it's slum and blight, and then we can move forward.
Okay, so just for clarification, so if we made a motion to send legislation to council to declare that those four parcels of property slum and blight, then we could do that. Now, how do we address the back issue of the parking areas that they would like to apply? I guess that would be a private parking. It wouldn't have anything to do with the village. Correct?
Unless they did First Street, unless it affected First Street, right? With diagonal parking on First Street.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Well,
if they were applying
also
for all the grants, and then what they did to their parking lot, as long as it falls within the zoning codes of the village and the codes for now the county on making sure their connections for water and sewer and such are correct. I guess I'm thinking that that's all we would need. Michelle, am I missing something?
No, I think that's pretty much it. And I do have that legislation. I've done slum and blight legislation before, so I can fix it up for this particular situation. As long as Planning Commission recommends it to council.
Okay, does council still, Dan, you said you have letters of commitment from the property owners in question?
Right, if Mayor, if you don't have copies of that, I will either email them or hand deliver them.
I've never been given them. I was only told that you had signatures. I've never gotten them.
Okay. Well, I probably saved it for the Zoom meeting, but since I'm in the Zoom meeting, I probably can't give them to you.
Right.
So, but
And I don't need them in my hands now. If you have them and you get them to us in a timely fashion, either drop them in the outside drop-off box. I'm sure we need originals, not just copies, Michelle.
Sorry, I'm okay with copies just so that we can say that we're aware that the interested parties have supplied letters of commitment.
Okay, Dan?
Can you?
Okay, great. Yeah, I did put them on the forms for the grant, so they're, you know, but they should be accepted. Should be good.
Wes, you have any questions on this?
My only point is, it does say only single building projects. Can we get that confirmed that is not the case?
Wes, I think Lisa was reading from a whole different sheet of paper than what we've got information on.
Right.
Well, that very well may be, but if we can get that piece of paper forwarded to us, that'd be great. And then, you know, either, you know, prove that that's the most recent copy as opposed to the one that we're looking at, whether it says version 1.02 at the bottom or, you know, on down the line. But before we, you know, move forward, that obviously needs to be cleared up. I want a clear process from start to finish, what needs to be accomplished, when it needs to be accomplished, timelines that, and this is more directed to Todd and Lisa as far as, you know, what steps do we need to accomplish in what order and when do you need them by to get this
Wes,
moving
the only
forward?
thing we have to do is have the slum and blight. That's all we're doing.
That's what I
think
understand.
first step would be for the planning commission, if you know, the majority of the planning commission is in favor of the project, or to recommend it to council, to move it to council.
For slum
Then
and blight.
then a resolution would have to be adopted by council declaring the parcels in question as slum and blight. And from there, then it kind of moves into the grant application process then, right?
Right, in our hands, right?
We have to submit a pre-application.
Yeah, there is a pre-app, but we take care of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And there has to be definitions around some slum and blight. I doubt that it's just as vague as we're making it out to be. Right? I assume that there's
I can see if I can find one for you.
and not a resolution that we pull from another city that's submitted it. I mean, I'm talking about actual definition. So I'm sure that definition's somewhere, right? Just stealing from another city's resolution, I don't feel sufficient. I mean, if the rest of the committee does, that's fine. But you know, I definitely want to see either what if it needs to be scored, you know, what the breakdown is. But I mean, if it's in the eye of the beholder, then I doubt that's the case.
Well, I just pulled it up, so I can forward this to Michelle if she wants to share it. I guess I'll just grab it and send it to her, and then you'll have it right now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Wes, because my concerns are, okay, we declare it slum and blight, and then they can just design whatever they want. They're still gonna have to follow the guidelines for the, you know, our zoning for, you know, whatever they do to the buildings or in their private property in the front of the building. And
Yeah.
also when they do, you know, so yeah, there's gonna have to follow regulations and so far they've been showing us, you know, their perspective design. We'll have to see final designs and everything, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, they've done great work. I have no doubt that it's going to look amazing. But before we say it's slum and blight, I want to know what we're signing off on.
Right, exactly what is slum and blight, sure.
I don't.
Todd, you can share your screen because I'm not receiving it.
Okay, I'll share it. Did it come up?
It did.
See it.
All right, there you go.
But I think in this particular instance, it may not necessarily be area slum and blight. It could be spot slum and blight, depending on which definition it best fits into, I guess.
Do you want me to Google spot slum and blight?
Yeah, because spot may be more specific to the building and may not necessarily be to the area. I mean, it's not to say that the area isn't, but if it is, I mean, we can do it based on area. If we're gonna say do more than one building, you know what I mean? It would probably. But if we're just gonna do the one building, I think it would be more of a fit for spot slum and blight.
I mean, if you read down, it says like at least 25% of the buildings are deteriorating or whatever.
Yeah.
But let me, if you guys want me to stop share, I can Google the other one and see what I get.
Hang
Well, I
on,
think
I'm writing
Yes.
real quick here. Title.
Well, let's see if I can just do it without.
Okay, I got what I wanted.
Let me see if I can get another, or is it? I better stop share because I think it'll just see my screen. And I don't want you guys to see that. I'm just kidding. So let's see what I can get now. So you're saying definition of spot slum and blight.
Yeah.
And so this definition came up. Okay.
I should have thought to use my camera and taken a snapshot.
Well, I can get it. I sent the link, or just I sent the link just to Michelle, but I can forward it to you.
Well, if Michelle finally got the link, then she can email it to all of us so we have it to review.
So can you just drop it in the chat feature of this conversation, of the Zoom meeting?
Yeah, I can do that. I just gotta find this other. I'm looking at this other. Slum and blight. There you go. Okay, so there's this other thing about addressing slum and blight, prevention of slum and blight. I don't know if this is what we want, but I can show it to you what we have, what I'm seeing.
Aren't you able to have an individual house as a slum and blight? So it's not an area necessarily. It's a building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
area usually is when you're doing more than one building or more than one residential structure.
So this is just this may not. This is talking more, more illustrative of what slum and blight is. And there's this other thing too about addressing slum and blight.
There might be something in the CBG handbook in the office.
This is the criteria for slum and blight on the screen now. I don't know what's it continues on.
Well, I don't see a negative for the village to say it's slum and blight. If Dan's holding the, going after the grant, we're not holding any money for this. We're not having to, have matching funds or anything. And it makes the village look nicer. Improves the look of the businesses.
Right.
I don't see a downside right now. And it still has to go by building code.
Okay, well, I'll send this link as well, and you guys can look at this as well. It's toward the end of the document, though. It's like 30-something pages long. Just letting you know. That should be it. Stop share. How come I can't stop sharing?
No, you're not sharing.
You're not sharing, Dennis.
Oh, good. Not sharing?
No, you've been sharing for a while now.
Okay, good.
Lisa and Todd, what's the deadline on filing for this?
For 2021, which is what I think we need to go after, I doubt very much if they have any 2020 funds left. They can begin taking pre-applications starting June 15th.
Okay, so if we push legislation to council to declare it slum and blight, we can get all the pertinent information at our next planning meeting next month. We could have gone first reading at council this month, and from there we can decide, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, if we're not happy with the paperwork that they're sending us that explains slum and blight, then we could recommend that council vote it down at that time.
Right.
Are you acceptable to something like that, Wes? So we can at least get.
I don't mean to hold the project up at all. That's not my intent.
No, I know. But we have questions.
If we were to say that it's slum and blight, isn't. If we have documentation that we can look at and maybe find a way that it is slum and blight, I mean, certainly there's a portion of that is, right? But I don't know as though it's all slum and blight. That's one. Number two, I don't know if it's one building, as the document said, and until we receive that update, right. I'm going to assume that Lisa's correct, in that it's multiple buildings, and that's great. But to just go through and say that it's slum and blight, I mean, that's
right.
I mean, it either is or it isn't, and it's I don't know that it is, in my opinion. But I'm one of how many? I mean, feel free. I mean, at that point, that's just asking to tell a non-truth, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't think it's black and white. If it's the eye of the beholder, it's not black and white, right?
Well, is it in the eye of the beholder, though?
Well, when you look at those criteria, you're not going to get a rating scale. You're going to get, well, is it or is it not deteriorating? And what's the point of deterioration? There's no saying, oh, is it 50% deteriorated or is it 10% deteriorated? It just says deteriorated. So in many aspects, you guys need to say, we agree that there's a deterioration occurring there, so it does meet that aspect of slum and blight. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying everything you don't have to meet every criteria. You don't probably only have to meet one of the criteria, to be honest with you. But you do have to have some elements listed there, and it really is subjective. It really is subjective.
Did you reference a certain portion of the building? Did you say 25%?
There was a statement that at least 25% of the buildings for an area wide needs,
that was in the area wide.
Then I can lock onto that and say we know that there's a large portion of that building in the middle, right? That is slum and blight. I then fine. I mean, that's what I'm looking for, is where I can lock onto something and say, you know what? In my opinion, the whole thing's not slum and blight, but 25% of it is. And
well, yeah,
that's good enough for me.
It said 25% deterioration, I think is.
Yeah, then I would sign up on saying it's slum and blight.
Well, Dan, has any work been done on the second floor of the building you guys have for the meat store where the fire had been? There had been an apartment in there years ago? Or is that still virtually, I guess, abandoned? I'm not sure if that's a correct term.
Right, it's never been restored since the fire. The only thing the insurance from the fire did was put in the.
Okay, and Todd, I'm going to throw a question at you. I'm looking at section 1.08 of the Ohio Revised Code, which defines, it's Ohio's definition of blighted and slums. Is that a good place to look at to get?
Well, it's not I'm not saying it's a bad place to look. I'm just going to tell you that these definitions are coming from the federal level, because that's where the money's coming from.
Oh, okay.
But their definition at the Ohio Revised Code probably isn't too far off from what the federal level is doing.
Yeah, because I mean, it would be pretty easy to, by looking at this, one thing, it says a parcel that has two or more of the following conditions, and then it goes dilapidation and deterioration. Well, every building down there has that, so that would be one of them. And then inadequate provision for ventilation, light, sanitation, or open spaces, age and obsolescence. I mean, there's a whole list here that I'm pretty sure we could pull one more out of to get the two conditions.
What section was that, John?
That is 1.08 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Lighted
Okay.
area defined excluded X conditions, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I mean, the more the details we get around what the blight, I mean, we're able to say, yeah, it is, and definitively. And
Yeah, I think we could definitely justify calling those buildings that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep, I'm behind it.
And the property behind it. I mean,
Well,
Right.
is the grant going, is it going to be covering the backside of the building?
Well, we're gonna try to pursue that, yes. Lisa's gonna let us know for sure.
right.
If it's just absolutely not available for parking, or the parking has to be removed from that, then we'll do that and we'll look at other things. But to include that in the area makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then if that's included, or at least provisionally included, then absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, one of the things is faulty lot layout in relation to size, adequacy, accessibility, or usefulness. Accessibility right there. We don't have
Yeah.
accessibility to
Right.
those.
Right, this decision would have been a lot better if we hadn't done anything downtown.
Well, personally, I would not feel uncomfortable forwarding this to council
Yeah.
to get the resolution moving.
Okay, the one more question that I have is, are we considering naming 4 parcels? Slum and Blight?
Well, if you're gonna, if Dan's trying to get the other owners involved in this, then it would probably be beneficial to list the entire site, even if they're only gonna fix, even let's say they don't want to fix it at this time, but you at least get that taken care of now and they can fix it later.
Okay, well,
Mayor,
we're looking specifically at the building that now houses 44 Restoration Meat Shop, Village Tavern. I can't think of the flower lady's name, but not Jim Mockney's building.
And also the green space.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought you were doing. Mayor.
That's why I said
Okay.
4 parcels, because that original parking lot encompassed all 4 parcels.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
So I just want to make sure that we're covering myself. I mean, can we call a vacant lot Slum and Blight when it's in such nice condition? Of course, the outside of the butcher shop is in nice condition too.
Right, but the backside of that property is not in good condition.
Correct.
Right?
Right, so
If you look
I
at the
guess we could
traffic-
say, so I guess we could say 25% of each property has issues when you encompass the whole property.
Right, and
The whole
with
parcel.
regard to the parking definitely is gonna be on that property as well. So,
Well, one of the conditions that you that they offer you is the parcel vacant or contain an abandoned structure. Well, the old hardware store is vacant. So again, there's one.
Yeah.
okay.
So do we need a motion? to move
And
it?
actually, let me think, there might be 5 parcels. Because I guess we should leave that open so Michelle can check. Because if you guys recall, behind the buildings there used to be a house that I think Teresa might have bought.
You're talking Annie Laudenberg's house?
Yes, yes. I don't know if she
I
can
believe,
find all that or not. So I mean, we need to verify
believe-
exactly how many lots or parcels we're including, so we don't miss something. And it screws everything up all the way around the circle.
okay, yeah, I can check, but I'm pretty sure that all goes with the village.
Well, that's why I thought that Larry had purchased it all, but did he do a lot combination at the time, or is it different parcels?
Oh, a different parcel?
Yes.
I don't think we ever did a lot combination for that. I think that was a big holdup back when we were talking about the parking lot at the first time around.
Well, we just, I know, we never got this far into the conversation because I
Yeah.
know that Jim Mockney owns behind him, but I don't think he owns the driveway. Teresa
Right.
owns the driveway where Loudenberg's were. And I don't even think that the butcher shop owns all the way to First Street. But I'm not certain.
Right. God, you have a good memory.
Yeah, I think I think there is a fifth person in there from what I remember from it.
Right, I think there's more, so I think we need to verify the parcels for our legislation. I think we should do it by parcels and not by. I don't know.
Could you do it by boundary? Because the First Street, Main Street boundaries are pretty clear. The Prospect and south side of the next building, those are pretty clear indicators. It would then not be tied to specific owners, to be an area designated rather than a bunch of parcels.
Well, there's probably addresses for that empty parcel where Annie Laudenberg's house was. Why not just say including 10696, I think is what the hardware store used to be. And then list the addresses of the various lots.
Well, we can ask Michelle for her. She's going to be writing the legislation for slum and blight.
Mm-hmm.
So does she think we need to do it by parcels or should we do it by lot lines as far as addresses or just by property owner name?
I would use parcel numbers because they're permanently attached to the land, whereas of course property owners can change.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tax map right now. Let me
Why
share
not
my.
do it by address?
I don't know if this is helpful. You see my screen?
Not yet.
Go ahead.
Share. There we go.
Oh, that's what yeah.
So.
Make that about 10 times larger, Wes, so I can see.
I count 5 parcels in there, Wes.
Let me see if I can magnify this. Let's zoom out. That's zoom in. Any better?
So see, there's a lot more parcels than we think. I'm counting. Whoops.
I counted 6.
Let me refresh my screen.
Yeah, it almost looked like the hardware, the frontage of the hardware and then the parking lot were 2 separate parcels, doesn't it?
Well, it looks like it. I mean, it's the same parcel
Looks like
number.
the hardware is all one. It looks like the meat shop, the butcher shop is
one. So
2 parcels and 2.5 parcels. It looks like it, and then looks like the Village Tavern is doggy, and then Jim Mockney's building, and then the parcel that's not showing an address there, right on the corner of First and Prospect.
Right. Seven, 8.
Because it looks like at the very edge of the butcher shop, it looks like there's a skinny piece of property right there.
That was sold to, that was the lawyers. That was sold to Restoration 44.
Okay.
So there might be a
right.
property, but it's
I
Restoration.
keep forgetting that that's a separate building.
I'm gonna go out that way.
Okay, no, it's okay. Your car's right there.
Yeah.
You can't get a big enough view to.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, that's getting better. Okay. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. I'm thinking where there is no parcel number that it's a combined lot though.
That's what I'm thinking.
So I think we would just go by the number of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, yeah, but there's no parcel number. It looks like a separate parcel where those cars are parked, and that's where Annie Loudenberg's house was.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that
So
since-
maybe she did do a combination?
And must have.
Yeah.
If not, there would be an address on that, wouldn't there? Or at least a parcel number.
Parcel number. I think we should at least do a little research on it for the legislation so we can verify that.
Right.
Council meetings, what, two more weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Teresa Cutlip still owns that, correct, Dan?
That's correct.
Wes, you're still
Oh,
sharing
I'm
your
sorry.
screen. Well, I just didn't want you to show something you didn't want to.
Oh, I got no secrets. Yeah. So want to grab that tab and do. I mean, we very well could just go by address, but it wouldn't include the lot, would be the only concern with that.
I know usually when we do legislation, we try to always put the parcel numbers on. Because like Michelle said, that always stays with the property. Even if Larry or Teresa did a lot combination, if you brought up Village Tavern or whatever it's going to be under, Larry Cutlip, Teresa Cutlip, it's going to show multiple parcels, I would think.
Yeah, they all have parcels. I'm looking, so I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7. I'm not sure those 2 parcels are, if that's a shadow or is that part of the project? The one to the north where the shadow is and that parking lot to the north of that or next behind that? Because I have 7 plus those 2. And I can, his isn't blown up enough to see the parcel numbers, but I can actually tell you what they are.
Well, that empty lot's got 2 different parcels in it. There's going to be the hardware store and there's going to be where Lang's Plumbing was.
Oh, yeah.
So the shadow is actually where Lang's used to be, and the big open area north of that where you see some cars is where the old hardware store was.
Wow. Right.
Yeah, Larry Cutlip, Montney, Larry Cutlip, Restoration. So yeah, that little skinny piece of property, and then the other bigger piece, that's Restoration 44. Those 2. Then you got 2 Larry Cutlips in the parking lot. Then you got Mockney on the corner, and then Larry Cutlip and Larry Cutlip in the middle pieces.
Yeah.
And then above that, or then what I'm calling the shadow, that's B&H Properties, and then the parking lot behind that is B&H Properties.
Right. Yeah, where Lang's used to be in the old hardware, B&H own all that property now.
Okay. All right.
So Cutlip is obviously a big part of this, and Mr. Montney or whoever that is the other owner. They only have 3 owners.
Okay.
Oh, there should be 4 owners.
4 owners with B&H.
Well, with
Yeah.
B&H.
With B&H, yeah, B&H, the 44 Restoration Group,
Yeah.
Larry Cutlip and
Mockney.
Mockney.
Right.
Yeah, it's 4 owners.
We can still recommend that it moves to council, and then you between the time frame, put figure out what the properties are. And there's no need to hold up the process based on that.
Right.
Agreed.
I make
a motion.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Second it.
Well,
Aye.
yeah, okay.
Who
we
made
all
the
know what
motion? Mary
is.
Ann's benefit? Who made the motion?
Okay, Mary Ann, I'm making a motion that we move these 6 parcels or however many B&H, 44 Restoration, Larry Cutlip and James Mockney properties forward to council to declare them or name them, whatever the correct terminology is.
Slum and
slum
blight. And Tammy seconded, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
And it's all eyes.
Aye.
Aye. You're right.
Okay, now I have a question before you move on.
Okay.
I'm clear. There are a lot of factors, different criteria in ORC 1.08. Which ones have you
You froze
chosen?
up. I'm sorry. You froze up.
You're
You're on
muted.
mute.
Every time I switch windows, my space bar doesn't work to unmute me. So in ORC 1.08, there were a lot of criteria, and you guys were batting a bunch of them around, and some of them were really excellent. But which ones did you decide on, the ones that applied to this location?
I don't think we really decided, did we?
Well,
John was just, if you need them, then John. better
I
listen.
would go with 2A, dilapidation and deterioration.
uh-huh.
What about 2B, age?
Age and obsolescence, that's certainly available to us.
All those criteria, John, starting to sound like the owners of R44. Run down, aged, dilapidated.
We'll take it personally, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, E is hazards that endanger lives or properties by fire or other causes. We know that there have been conditions down in the storefronts underneath the flower shop that were electrical, so we could use that.
Oh, that's right, because the county came up and told them they had to do rewiring in there. That's right.
Correct.
But are we addressing those through this grant though?
Well, we're just using those as the, somebody find the word, the justification of the slum and blight designation.
Right.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
And you had already cited something that had to do with the condition of the property as far as it being overgrown and whatever that was when you first read that too, John.
Is vacant or contains abandoned
Yes.
structure?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
QH.
Okay, so I have A, B, E, and H right now.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yep.
Okay, we'll use those.
Okay, everybody fine with that?
Yep.
Yep.
And Todd and Lisa, you'll still get us that other information, that email it to me and I'll shoot it out to everybody so they have it to review for our next meeting. Dan's gonna drop off the signed agreements with the property owners. So we have those, either copies of them. Michelle said copies will work. So we'll at least be having first reading on April 20th, is it?
20th, yep.
God, how did I remember that? Anything else we have to do for this one, Michelle?
Nope, I think I have everything I need. Thank you.
Okay, Dan, Lisa, and Todd. Oh, John has one more thing to ask you, but
Okay.
We have a property owner in town who is looking for our help in getting some funding through a FEMA grant. It's right on 44 at the river on the south side of the bridge.
Yeah.
Do you have experience with that?
I'm gonna say no, but it's not to say that we can't do it. So
Okay.
with this FEMA grant, what kind of mitigation is he going for?
I don't have all my notes in front of me and I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, hold on.
Somebody help me.
I didn't bring my folder home. Wes, do you have the
Yeah,
information?
I should.
I don't know how to screen share, so I can't.
Well, yeah, I'd be happy to help you guys with whatever you need us to do. We do have an in-house grant writer again, thank goodness. And so we can help with however we can, help you. I know we work with Randy Roberts, who's the county's FEMA coordinator. So I can work with him as well.
Well, we've been talking with Ryan,
Right.
and he was the one who gave us the information on that, on what we do to the property owner can't sell it because it floods and
Right.
it has other issues. And he wanted, I guess, the village to apply for a grant and purchase it from him and add some money to it and then tear the building down.
Oh, okay. Because it floods repeatedly, doesn't it?
Yes, it's down there where the old Middlefield Bank was.
Yep. I'm familiar with it.
General Insurance and Mitigation Administration is where this information came through.
Okay. Well, I'll get with Ryan and I'll follow up with the mayor on it as well.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the exact details.
Sorry, I would have made sure I brought it home, but John didn't tell me about it till I got home.
Here it is, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program.
Yeah.
They really looked at.
Okay, like I said, I'll get with Ryan on that and see what we can do. Hazard mitigation program. So with our grant writer, I mean, we could actually use some of that time that you guys have with us to probably write that grant. So I'll have to, like I said, work with Ryan and our grant writer, and also contact the mayor about it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Todd.
Sure.
Okay, anything else for Todd or Lisa or Dan?
I don't have anything else. Thanks, guys, for coming and explaining and helping us through this.
I don't know if we helped you or made it worse.
No, you helped.
All right, good.
Yeah,
A
you
lot of
helped.
help, yeah.
All right, good. Well, have a good night,
Great job, guys.
We've taken one step forward tonight, so
There you go.
that's a positive. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna move on, unless there's any other discussion on that topic. Okay, we've actually just covered the Tom Van Auken property. Sidewalks.
I was approached by someone just today that has started walking in the village in the last 2 weeks, and said he will, certain areas, he says the sidewalks go up and down. I said, oh yeah, I said, planning is working on this. I know we keep talking about it and we haven't done a whole lot. I think if we can wait one more month, let Mary Ann get another month under her belt, and I'm going to start plotting out some streets and contacting some concrete people that do that kind of stuff. Write down addresses of, okay, in front of Randy Weaver's house, he's got 2 sections that need replaced. Tom Aldrich, things like that on different roads. Instead of replacing all the sidewalks, replace, and then we'll write letters to get an estimate for this company to come out and do a couple blocks or whatever, how many pieces there are, and send letters to the property owners and say, hey, this needs to be done. We're trying to make it easy on you, yada, yada, yada. And we've been able to secure a price, but it all has to be done at one time, and you guys will be responsible to pay your portion to this ABCD concrete sidewalk layers. I mean, it's gonna take a while to put it together.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm sure, like, in front of Tom's house where that one is like pitched like this, that tree probably has to come down, I guess. So that would require a letter to Tom and Veneer.
Well, unless you could get extended easement to curve around that. I mean, we've got sidewalks that have done that. There's a section on High Street, I think, almost across from Wes's house, that there was something there at one time, and now it just has
A roundabout, they put a
circled.
roundabout on it?
Excuse me?
They put a roundabout on it?
Kinda, yeah. Circled around it, and
Where my maple trees used to be, they went around those.
okay, that might be what I'm thinking of then. So I think, there's other ways around it besides cutting down a 200-year-old healthy tree.
Right, but we have to come up with a plan and that's the best thing I can think of. The village can't afford to pay for it. We can't, say to people, replace the whole thing in front of your house. I mean, unless it's that bad, but most of the places it's just 2 or 3, I'm gonna say stones, but you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sections or whatever.
Yeah. I have one section that's bad.
Right,
Oh,
and
I have a couple
I
too,
see,
yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of people have started doing that. I drove down Woodford Street and there's a couple places there where people have, done 2 sections, and so people are starting to do that. So if that's the way we have to do it, that's the way we have to do it, so that our residents aren't gonna, really bite the bullet per se on having to do the whole thing in front of their house.
And that would be great to be able to say for somebody that's got a large section, 5, 6 sections that need to be done. You can do 3 this year, 3 next year, or 2, 2, and 2,
Right.
maybe we give them an option, but they need to have it done, right?
Or maybe we'll have enough different blocks around town that the person doing it would reduce the rate, or
Right.
however it's sold. I don't know how that kind of stuff's billed.
Is the village gonna offer a match?
No,
Well, we no longer have a water plant. We should be flush with money. I mean, we're no longer paying for that.
Why would you say that? The water plant had nothing to do with sidewalks, for goodness sakes.
You forget, those people forget
yeah,
that.
Wes,
they
Wes,
pay
you
into the
know
water.
that the water and sewer plant were enterprise funds. None of that money went to the streets.
I'm just picking at you.
I
When I
just,
say you, I mean the group as a whole.
I know. I just wish that the 94 people that have not responded to the county or to Metco to have their meters installed, that are
Okay.
holding a lot of work up.
Well, that's not part of this meeting, so let's
No.
not get into that one. Okay, any other conversation about sidewalks?
No, but I think that we should consider offering a match of some sort. We
Then
did-
we'd have to change our codified.
Yeah.
The codified says
just
it's the
what dictates
property
that
owner's
way.
responsibility.
we
I mean,
offer-
we could do that, but
We offer, I mean, it's simple enough to do that, but we offer a match with the trees in the tree lawn.
true.
We had tried to get a grant on, what was that one for the schools? You remember when we applied for that? I mean,
Sidewalks to schools.
yeah, well, okay, that was simple. There may, I don't know that there's not something out there. I mean, all this new infrastructure money that's gonna start come rolling out.
Maybe there will be something, who knows?
So maybe it's worth
something varying.
investigating, talking to Todd or Jennifer up at CT. Is there funding available just to rehab neighborhood sidewalks?
There might
That-
be something.
Right. Is that something we can have Mary Ann look into for the next meeting?
I see her writing frantically.
She's like, lose my name. Forget my name.
She's looking down and
I haven't heard anything from Gene, so I'm gonna say we lost him.
I think I have to go. Just kidding.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then. Old business, we're still kind of sitting on this, the rental inspection.
Well, we said we were gonna sit on it till June or July and then really get serious in September. We're giving the COVID time to go away. Isn't that what we said last month? Isn't that in the minutes?
We did.
It's in the minutes. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, is there any new information on the zoning maintenance issues listed on the bottom of the agenda?
Okay, since Mary Ann wasn't the person at the time, I'll go over this with everybody. Okay, the First Street people with the open basement. I did speak with not Randy Roberts, but his secondhand man. They were gonna go up and take a look at it because I said, really all they did was pile dirt up that you can't see and hung a blue tarp. They doesn't appear that they've really done anything. I sent a letter to Lucas Randall regarding his shrubbery overgrowing around the house, and that just went out on the 30th. Main Street, that Brent Minovic, he is working with Randy Roberts at the building department to rectify his error of doing his changing a doctor's office into an apartment. So he's working with him there. Mark Miller, the original letter that I sent was sent to that Scott Angle. That property changed hands, so I just sent that one out the beginning of March. And in these letters, I'm giving them 30 days to respond.
Okay.
Just so, Lonnie Love responded almost immediately. He has asked for an extension, and so after the circumstances that he explained to me why he was asking for that, we extended it to July of this year. But he says that we'll be seeing progress before then. But Frank Yatso, have not heard anything from him. Snyder's, I have not heard anything from them. So I would ask that since the 30 days are up now, that we put this in Michelle's ball court to send them letters.
Okay. Well, I would say even though this Mark Miller property changed hands, don't let it go. Just
No,
because
no,
it changed hands.
no,
This
he got,
property-
I sent Mark Miller a letter
Yeah.
and
I mean, I
explained
don't
to
care
him.
that he bought the place or not. If he bought the place now, he's responsible for
Right.
that crap hole down there. So.
Right, and that's what I told him. I said, I
Okay.
didn't realize that you bought it in December. This is the letter that was sent to Scott. And you have 30 days to respond to us.
Okay.
And Mark Miller is Enterprise Tree Service.
Right.
Yeah.
All the more reason
Right.
he needs to.
Did Yato's building sell at auction, do we know?
It didn't go to auction. They canceled the sale.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, at the last minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they say that they're, yeah. Yeah, we inquired about the building.
Okay.
And we were also told that, they're working it out, but that the building needs a ton of work and it's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a building we need to look at and say, okay, well, that's a blighted building.
That would be easy on that one.
You could have sold that building 10 times over the past 15 years. We've inquired about it numerous times over the past 15 years. That building could have been a business, not a storage unit, but
Yeah.
that's sad. It's a
But it
beautiful.
doesn't have parking. It doesn't have much parking. It only owns 20 feet from the back side of it.
Yeah, but didn't they buy the property next door? They own that whole lot.
Yeah, but that wasn't up for auction. And he
Yeah.
said he wasn't going to be a good neighbor. So.
No, he's not a good building owner. So he's not a good property owner.
So.
But hell, he's not even a good homeowner. If you look at his house up on Reservoir.
I guess we'll start have to drive around there.
His house is in as bad of shape as the building is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maintenance code wise, there should be a letter sent right there. So.
And I do see that I'm missing one. I don't know if I deleted it when I copied it and pasted from one to the other. there was that house on Harold Street, second house north on the east side from Walnut, that had the truck, the little black S10 or whatever it was, up on jacks with no tires on it. They did put tires on it since I sent them the letter. And they finally moved it, but when they moved it, now I can see tarps covering all kinds of, I don't know what's under it. So they're probably gonna get another letter, but I can't remember their name. So I'll find that letter and readdress that one. Or Mary Ann will now, because she's the village administrator.
Thank you for the job you did, Mayor.
Yeah, Linda, thanks for filling in.
You're welcome.
We may also at some point want to address the blinking lights in the mini mart.
The new Manaway Mini Mart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they all still blinking? And the reason I asked that because I called him
Oh, did you?
regarding that, and they were stationary, all of them.
Yeah, I didn't notice them blinking, but maybe they are again.
I'll have to look and see.
They very well may not be at this point. I know at one point they were though.
Yes, yeah, there were
Oh,
three
no,
of them.
Early on, they were.
ATM, lottery, and something else, and one was wheeling, one was.
Well, and we contacted a couple other businesses and had them stop with their blinking lights also. So,
Yeah, told them they could be stationary, because I had to have the mini mart take down the sign that was next to the north of the door, and it was looked just like the sign out by the road basically, but it said cigarettes, beer and wine, and lottery. And I said, you put that sign up without a permit, you're over your limited size. And so he took it down, and they were going to be bringing in a sub shop company, but Mary Ann, have you heard from them since they wanted to know if they could put a what's it truck in the driveway?
no, I have not.
Yeah. So maybe that
I know
fell
I know
through.
they take orders. They take orders and then they'll put them in there and people come pick them up, but that's all I know.
And I did tell them that they have to scale back on how they have Marlboro cigarettes or this kind, the cigarettes that they put around the poles. I said, you can't just go hog wild out there, so. And I also spoke to Easy Mart too and said, watch how many of those signs you put up, otherwise we're gonna have to be sending you a letter. Figured I had to be equal to both of them.
Mhm. Right, right.
They have two of the cigarette kind of signs, but up at the Manaway Mart, there were 4 of them.
You were on it.
I was trying.
Yeah.
I was trying, Wes.
Yeah.
Okay, anything anybody else would like to bring up this evening for the meeting?
Unless somebody has another property in town that I'm missing at this point. Oh, Spence's. I bet that's when I took Violet Spence off,
Oh,
sent her a letter, and she has fixed her roof and stuff. So, and I eliminated her. So maybe that other person on Harold Street is when I thought there should have been more on there. So yeah. Mary Ann's still acclimating to everything in the office and stuff. So I'll still do the drive arounds and write the letters for her. And
Been a pretty busy 2 weeks
yes,
with unusual things.
Don't send me a letter. I have a painter coming like mid-May, so.
You'll be the first one I send, Wes.
Yeah.
You found a painter?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. Ashley said I can't go up there on that ladder. My 20-foot ladder wouldn't reach it because they're all 10-foot ceilings, and it goes to the peak like that. There was no way.
Yeah. Is it somebody local?
It is. Yep.
Good. Good.
Does he do inside painting also?
I don't know. I'll ask him.
We have the names of a couple. You guys will be surprised whenever we have our first in-person meeting. The service department painted council chambers.
Okay, wow.
And it's basically that three walls are the champagne color, and then there's a dark gray, not real dark.
Called
and-
elephant ear. It's exactly
Elephant
the
ear.
color of an elephant ear.
And all the pictures that were around leaning against the walls and all that, we've done like collages of
Oh, nice.
and so it looks pretty nice. And the new cleaning lady is working on the floor right now to get it buffed back up. And the service department did they're not painters.
Yeah.
They did a nice job.
Yeah, the park looks good. The swing sets and everything, it looks really good.
The what?
The dirt look great.
The
Thank
paint.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else for the planning commission?
The painting on the playground looks really nice.
Yeah.
They did a nice
It's
job
gonna look
painting
brand
on it. Yes. And we have a seesaw that's getting ready to go in as soon as we finish extracting all that pea gravel and grading that area to put the mulch down. So
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
Very good.
new swing sets, or not, I'm sorry, not new swing sets, but
New
swings
swings.
with seats.
Mhm.
And get the basketball hoops and backboards up.
Replaced a couple things on the big like jungle gym type thing that were either broken or missing. So
Yeah,
all
you
the
guys-
parts it's gonna be nice.
You guys are killing it.
I'm
That's
pretty
awesome.
excited about it.
Good.
Yep, they're on it. They're
Oh,
doing
we're
good.
trying to get phase 2 of Booker Park finished. That still is not done. So we're all finishing that, and we were just approved for phase 3, but we don't want to start that till we get phase 2 done.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And you canoe, don't you, Wes? You guys,
We have a canoe, but we haven't taken it down in a number of years. But that'd be, yeah.
because we just, Mary Ann did her first grant for us. She applied for a paddling
Paddling grant.
enhancement grant.
Paddling, great, yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to, if we get it, it's gonna pave where you drive in to turn around to drop your canoe off to get in and out. And,
Nice.
and add some parking spaces right over there by the river.
And
then-
signage so you know where you're going.
And signage so you know where you're going. And also we added into it because there's been so many people down there parking with nothing else to do, going, canoeing and stuff. We applied to get the on that same grant, the parking area by Katie's Meadows by the volleyball court between
Okay.
the lodge and to have that paved.
Wow.
And that was 100% free money.
Yep. If we get it.
If we get it. If we get it.
We're gonna get it. Come on.
We're gonna get it.
Yeah, I know.
Free money.
Positive. We're gonna get it.
It's free money,
Money's
John.
coming.
Yeah,
Free money.
Bubble.
I hear you. Okay, anything else for the meeting tonight?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
All
Good
in
night,
favor?
everybody.
Good
Night.
night.